Matt Sofer here, InTrack. There's been a lot of volatility in the market, last couple of days, weeks, months, to be quite honest. Discussions around interest rates, inflation, tariffs, trade wars, it's kind of, nonstop, the information flow. And we just wanted to give an update to everyone. In times of volatility, we like to step back and make sure we're continuing to stick to our investment process. This includes a number of core themes we think are going to be important, not just today, but 5, 10, 20 plus years into the future. A fellow advisor here at InTrack had the opportunity to attend the Invention to Venture conference locally at the University of Vermont recently. And this covered one of our themes we like to incorporate into our portfolio construction and holdings. And that is the bioeconomy. Bioeconomy, which you can see holistically in the diagram here, is by definition economic activity that utilizes renewable biological resources like plants and microorganisms to produce goods, services, and energy. It's a growing area of focus both here in the US and globally. And it's really used to help promote sustainable solutions for some of the bigger problems that we have, both economically and societal. Where we're focused on is trying to figure out what companies, what sectors may be able to commercialize some of the solutions to these problems. What you see here are some of the major problems that we focus on, and I'll highlight a couple here. Climate change. We've seen an increase in frequency and severity of major droughts, wildfires, floods, this last decade, and it's probably only going to get worse. We think about how do insurance, reinsurance, reinsurers, banks use data analytics to underwrite these new risks. What type of products can they create that can be profitable with this dynamic? Also, we can think about different materials that may be able to help withstand some of these extreme conditions. Resource scarcity. This is another big one. In our supply chains, there just is continued use of more and more materials. The inputs are going up, and many of these inputs are not renewable. They're scarce resources such as water and other rare materials. And we really need to think about, how do we reduce these material inputs and shift toward inputs that are renewable. Land use change is also a big item. Locally here in Vermont, you would think Vermont, lots of land, not a big deal, but here we're facing an issue with the supply of affordable housing, not dissimilar to many other parts of the US and globally. But with increasing the supply of housing, we really need to be careful that we're not impeding, our local ecosystems and negatively impacting the biodiversity here locally. And what we'll take a look at now are some of the change levers that companies can use to formulate solutions to some of these major problems. And we're not going to go through all of these, but we really try to focus on finding sectors and companies that can successfully execute on any number of these levers. Here are a few examples we wanted to highlight from the conference. The first is biotechnology. genetic editing is extremely impactful and it can have a wide range of benefits, from creating crops that are resistant to the drought we spoke of earlier with climate change, to increase in pests in areas that we maybe haven't seen before. And then from a human perspective, it can help advance immunology and other aspects of medical care and research. Next is biofuels. Places as remote as Africa are able to leverage local agricultural and residential waste and convert it into biogas. In Kenya, where the infrastructure isn't great, really isn't a reliable source of energy, people are able to use this biogas for cooking in their homes where they otherwise would not have been able to. Then lastly, bioplastics. Netherlands, they're working on creating bioplastics from algae. And this is a major, major deal because petroleum-based plastics aggregating in our landfills have been an issue for decades, and it's something that really, really needs to be addressed. And this is just a small snapshot of a couple examples of the bioeconomy in practice. There's going to continue to be significant innovation in the space, and it's needed. Thanks for listening. Please reach out with any questions.